Give me la dolce vita, hot music.
I'm Jimmy Petterson, born in the United States, resident of Austria, citizen of the world. BA in history, master's in education, followed by more than 40 years of ski bumming, street music, and travel. But hey, Dad, don't fret about my poor resume. I've met many people, made a lot of friends, skied more than 4,000 days on all 7 continents, and I've come away with quite a few interesting stories to tell.
I'm traveling free. I wanna travel free.
In this day and age when the large and famous ski resorts of the world are ever more crowded, and an increasing number of people are tracking up the powder as a result of the wide big mountain skis that make skiing off-piste so easy, there are still a number of locations where one can get off the beaten track and find some solitude as well as powder. One of my favorite such destinations is Greece. Since the 21 Greek ski resorts are relatively unknown outside of Greece itself, there are almost no foreigners, and relatively few local people ski midweek. This is definitely a country where one can escape the rat race. The financial crisis has certainly also taken its toll on the Greek ski industry. The lifts are generally outdated, and of all the ski resorts, only Kalavrita is currently profitable. Yet when it comes to heart and soul, the Greek people rate 5 stars. Greece is a land of empty pocketbooks, old and broken lifts, but big and warm hearts. The Greeks are among the friendliest people on the planet, and their hospitality alone is reason enough for a visit. Their life philosophy is quite similar to that of an old ski bum like me. They do not live to work, they work to live. That is to say that their leisure hours, family time, good food, wine, music, and dance are often a higher priority than money. In Nikos Kazantzakis' immortal novel Zorba the Greek, Zorba gives one of his many little lessons in philosophy.
Dance? Did you say dance? Come on, my boy.
I carry on as if I should never die, and I carry on as if I was going to die any minute, Zorba tells his friend. Zorba is a larger-than-life character who lives a full 60 seconds in every minute. He's a lover, a musician, a dancer, an adventurer, a dreamer, and much more. He has a life-affirming, passionate, devil-may-care, live-for-today philosophy, and in some ways he symbolizes the Greek spirit. Perhaps it's been just those priorities that led the nation down the path toward their financial meltdown. Be that as it may, I was not looking for an investment partner. I was going on a ski trip, and Greece was my well-thought-out destination. My partner for this adventure was Klaus Arpia. Any trip with Klaus is bound to be fun and funny, regardless of whom else we might meet. He's been my close friend for 35 years, and there's never a dull moment when he's around. He found his true calling when he began working as the McDonald's clown, Ronald McDonald, performing balloon tricks and singing for small children all over Finland. While he no longer works in that capacity, he's an unintentional clown in real life. He's a spontaneous bundle of combustible energy that's always walking a tightrope between hilarity and disaster. On the slopes, he's a great skier, but often presses his limits and ends up in the hospital. Economically, he's a complete mess, who rarely can make ends meet, but prefers to live in freedom and financial insecurity rather than return to a 9-to-5 existence. With the ladies, he's an impetuous charmer who at any moment might be rewarded with a kiss or a slap, and in all circumstances, he's an accident waiting to happen. For me, he's a best friend and a great ski companion. And for everybody he meets, he's an ambassador of laughter. Come to think of it, he bears a marked resemblance to Zorba in both appearance and life's philosophy. Klaus was the perfect companion for this trip. Our first stop was Kalavrita. You might not think southern Greece to be a likely location to find powder, but you would be wrong. Not only was it snowing hard as we arrived, but the town was not inundated with ski bums and powder hounds, despite the fact that the prices cater to ski bums. 30 euros a day for a room with breakfast and a lift pass. It was even snowing down in the village at an elevation of 750 meters when we arrived.
Powder to the people.
We met the mountain manager, Leonotis Spiropoulos, who was kind enough to show us around his mountain.
How long have you been working as a general manager here?
The last 3 years.
And before that, you were doing what?
Before that, and I'm still doing it, I'm a civil engineer. And I'm skiing since I was 3 years old. And I love this mountain, actually. I've traveled a lot for skiing, but this mountain is the one that I love, the one that I have in my heart.
Even though you told me that you've been skiing in Saint Moritz, you've been skiing in Val Thorens, La Trois-Vallées, you've been skiing in Germany, Austria, in Italy, you still love this mountain the most.
Yes, I love this mountain because it has fantastic freeride runs. It operates only with fresh snow, and usually we have a period of 3 or 4 months of fresh snow.
One of the things I really liked about Kalavrita is, as you said, that there's no artificial snow. And my old knees, they really can tell. The moment I'm on artificial snow, they start hurting. When they're on natural snow,
It's like sliding on yogurt.
how long is your season usually?
Usually it's from the end of December to the middle of April.
Of course, there's so much more to Greece than just skiing. While driving among the 21 ski resorts, one is rarely very far away from their lovely coastline, a beautiful landscape, or an interesting historical site. The historical sites are sometimes from antiquity and other times from more recent history. Sadly, Kalavrita is the location of a very dark moment in more recent Greek history.
On this location in December of 1943, Greek partisans captured 81 German soldiers and put them to death. A few days later, in retribution, the Germans took every male citizen of the town over the age of 14, 692 people in all, and murdered them here in the fields outside of town. I can really feel for the people, as I also come from that dark Holocaust past with my family, fortunately, escaping from Austria and not becoming victims of the Holocaust, but becoming refugees in the United States.
There are also interesting places to visit close to Kalavrita of a much more pleasant nature.
This is one of the most impressive looking caves that I've ever seen. We haven't even got to the lakes yet. There are 13 lakes here. They were first discovered. The cave was discovered earlier, but the lakes were first discovered in 1964.
If you're coming to ski in Kalavrita, don't miss the chance to drive an extra 20 minutes and visit a fascinating underground spectacle.
Human beings have created some amazing stuff. but it still doesn't hold a candle to what Mother Nature can do.
There was still time for an après-ski, and on the way down to town we stopped at a roadside stand for a drink. This random and seemingly insignificant decision led to a chain reaction of hospitality that probably could only happen in Greece. It all began innocently enough as Klaus and I asked the young ladies behind the counter if they had an ouzo.
Μέλι παραγωγής μας.
Greek honey. I got two.
Country road, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home.
So we had this amazing after-ski, our first after-ski in Greece, and these two lovely ladies, they gave us free drinks, then they gave us free food.
Which is good news.
And then one of the other guests, this local guy, he was so enthralled with our enthusiasm and our singing for the ladies that he's invited us to his home for I don't know what. But this is what life is all about. This is the adventure, the spontaneity, and there's no place in the world that spontaneity and hospitality is better than Greece.
Oh, liver. That's my favorite. This is the home.
Oh my God! What can I say?
Georgos Glava spoke very few words of English, but we communicated with ouzo, food, music, dance, and laughter.
This is an amazing, this is a ski bum meal. Greece is a ski bum country. Everybody's so hospitable, it's unbelievable.
After dinner he put on some Greek music, and soon we were all dancing around the room like Zorba. It was all rather surrealistic, as if we had stumbled into a Fellini film. It was hard to imagine that this was the same day that we had skied powder for much of the day. And it was still our first day in Greece.
Crazy Greek hospitality, the best in the world. This is the way a ski day should start. View of the Mediterranean, the slopes are 40 kilometers away, and we've got some ouzo and Greek coffee. We're here for skiing, but a ski bum has to eat.
Our attempt at fishing didn't produce any results, so we decided to make a purchase from a local fisherman before heading up to the slopes. Oh, had I mentioned that Klaus was an accident waiting to happen? Well, he leaned his skis up against the boat, and the next thing I knew we were fishing for skis.
I went down to the fishing hole, and I sat down with my fishing pole. Some grabbed my hook, and they got my bait, and it jerked me out in the middle of the lake. Some jumped, I got sunk, baptized on a credit. Fishing down on the muddy bank, I felt a pull and I give a big yank. I hauled out 3 old rubber boots and a Ford radiator and a Chevrolet coupe. Handed in for national defense.
I love these olive trees. And actually, I love the olive oil. And I love the olives. There's nothing better than a Greek salad. We headed toward Parnassos, Greece's largest and most popular ski resort. When we arrived at the resort, the snowstorm had still not abated. As in Kalavrita, the slopes were almost empty. There was no indication that this was in fact a popular ski area. Klaus and I floundered and groped in the fog for a while like blind men who had lost their canes. But we soon again ran into some spontaneous Greek hospitality in the form of 6 mountain guides who, as a result of the financial crisis and the bad weather, had no clients. They were happy to guide us around their mountain for the rest of the day. In between runs in the powder, we discussed Greece's difficulties, the 25% unemployment rate, the 33% of their countrymen who had dropped below the poverty line, and the austerity measures imposed upon them by the European banks. Our new friends had an objective view of the face-off between their countrymen and the European banks. The Greek people had forever lived above their means, the government had lied about their economic data, and the European Union and banks had known full well that the data was falsified, but welcomed Greece into the Union for reasons that would benefit themselves. I admired our new friends for their ability to put on a happy face and enjoy life despite the unenviable plight of their country. Of course, they were among the lucky ones. Even if they temporarily had no clients today, they did at least have a job. The question of how long their jobs would last if nobody could afford to ski anymore did not come up. So we're up for another adventure here. Our Greek buddies are showing us the tree run. This is a road run, starts a little bit below the bottom of the Parnassos. And these guys, they love to ski the trees, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do the 3 parts, tree run 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna do the 1. If you like, we can continue to do the 2, and if you keep on lagging, we can do the 3. And I think we're gonna get first tracks, eh? Do you see any tracks? No. This is, we need to take 1 zip before we go in,
Yes.
eh? What is this? Chipo, right? What a Chipo. There you go. Nice. Enjoy. Take it easy. It's not American beer. There's a lot of alcohol.
It's not finished.
If you see, it's 42%, eh? But it's nice.
I can't take it. Why not?
Come on.
The great thing about skiing is, we have Greeks, we have a Finn, we have an American, but that doesn't matter, we're all ski bums. Laura, what do you think?
I think we're all citizens of the world.
Nationalism and religion both preach hatred and division. When you classify me, you put me in prison. I'm just a human being. I don't like to think of myself as American or Russian or anything else. I'm not Chinese, Greek, French, or Welsh. I'm just a human being. The system tries to box us in with passports and IDs, Social Security and person numbers. Show me your papers, please. Occupation, nationality, age, and race. Fill in the blank, check the box. We'll put you in your place. We're being brainwashed to think of ourselves as in the little blackened box that we know so well. I'm a white, blue-collar American male. And who the fuck are you, man? And who the fuck are you, man? I'm just a human being. Unfortunately, we had to depart from our newfound friends as the next stop on our road trip beckoned. On the same mountain as the ski resort is the ancient city of Delphi.
This cone-shaped rock was supposedly thrown down by Zeus to find the center of the universe, which according to the Greeks was here. Behind me is the remains of the Temple of Apollo, and there was an old woman chosen to be the oracle from the local community, and she remained the oracle until she died and a new one was chosen. There were fumes coming out of a crevasse somewhere near here, and it's thought that she got high on these fumes and she kind of ranted and raved, and then the priests translated what she said into predictions. And so the oracle, in a sense, was consulted by the highest leaders of the country. And this was most prevalent from about 586 before Christ for about 500 years. It didn't happen during the winter. I suspect the oracle was skiing on the local mountain during the winter.
I prophesize there will be much powder on your visit in Greece.
We're at the highest point in the Apollo sanctuary here in Delphi, and that's the site of the old stadium. From 586 BC, the Pythian Games were held here. They were the second most important sporting event after the Olympics.
From Delphi, it takes about 3.5 hours to drive to the town of Kalambaka in a region known as Meteora. I visited more than 90 countries, and Meteora is one of the most spectacular places I've ever seen in this world. It's a place where the wonders of Mother Nature meet the amazing things that man have created. You have these monoliths that once were the delta of a river, according to geologists, and you have these 14th century monasteries built on the top of the cliffs that is hard to believe.
We're here at the Varla Monastery, one of the 6 active monasteries left in Meteora. There were originally 24 monasteries. They were built in the 14th century, and up until the 1920s, there was no staircase like this. They hauled the monks and they hauled the food and everything they needed up and down with a rope and a big net, and the rope was hung over a pulley wheel. According to the history, they used the rope always until it broke, and then they got a new rope. So, you were a little bit in the hands of God, whether you made it up in the net or not. I'm not so sure if I would want to trust in God that much, but these were religious people.
We prayed for sunshine for our next ski destination and headed westward toward the home of Zeus, Mount Olympus. Zeus must have heard our prayers, for the morning was bluebird and wind still. The skiing on Mount Olympus is rather unique. The lift is operated by the military to train their mountain troops, but on weekends it's open to the public. The entrance to the military base is surrounded by razor wire fences, but beyond this rather intimidating entry is a beautiful world of white. We showed our passports to a soldier at the entry gate and signed in. From there we had to hike about 20 minutes to reach the lower of 2 drag lifts. You might think that a 20-minute walk is a bit inconvenient, but use of the ski lifts is free of charge. I've skied in 74 countries, but that was a first. The warming hut served coffee, water, and candy bars, and that was it. This was definitely a bring-your-own-picnic ski hill. A group of soldiers were apparently getting their first ski lesson. Hopefully for them, they won't get into a war against Switzerland anytime soon. Despite the perfect weather and the world's best price, we were almost alone on the pistes.
It's a long way to Mount Olympus. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Mount Olympus, to the sweetest snow I know. Goodbye, Saint Anton. Farewell, Val d'Isère. It's a long, long way to Mount Olympus. Powder waits there.
You can understand why the Greeks thought that the gods lived here. It's a spectacular place on a day like this with no clouds in the sky. We didn't have to pay anything, but for a ski bum, a free day of skiing, that's always top of the list.
Our wonderful road trip was passing all too quickly. We were heading for our final destination, the village of Karpenisi and the nearby ski resort of Veluchy. We checked into the Helvetia Hotel, which means Hotel Switzerland. It was a cozy 3-star establishment with a fire crackling in the stone fireplace in the lobby and spacious, comfortable rooms. Behind the reception counter hung a portrait of a man, Georgos Matsousa, the late founder and longtime proprietor of the hotel, which had been built in 1966. It was high season, there was lots of snow, and the rooms cost a mere 20 euros a night with breakfast, but the hotel was basically empty. The low price came with a catch. Much of the lobby was darkened as they were saving money on electricity. Dedek Marsena, the manager of the hotel, painted a bleak picture of the current situation.
How many rooms do you have here?
There are 75 rooms at the hotel, but now we have only 5 that are occupied.
And we're in one of those
Yes.
5 rooms. From what I understand, it wasn't always so. It used to be much more full. Is that right? Before the financial crisis?
Yes, before the 2009, it was almost full all of the year.
We're sitting here in the lobby by the fire because we need some warmth, and they're saving money on heating. So the heating is turned off now in the lobby because there's only 5 rooms occupied.
Let's say 2009, when we went to Karpenisi, 1 liter was 30 cents, and now it's 1 euro.
For the heating oil.
Yeah.
The following day we sampled the skiing in Veluchy.
They call this the Switzerland of Greece, and I can certainly understand why.
The infrastructure at the resort, however, bore no resemblance to Switzerland. The resort was a textbook model of deferred maintenance. I'm standing under the wheelhouse of one of the 5 lifts here in Veluchy, but this lift is broken. That lift was out of commission for the whole season, but the highest lift was also idle on the day of our visit.
Problem.
And this lift seemed to be operating in first gear. Once again, there were very few people on the mountain. Naturally, the resort can't earn the money for repairs when the people can't afford to go skiing. Of course, Klaus and I could take advantage of the empty slopes and the beautiful views. After all, we had come to escape the crowded resorts of the Alps. It was our last day in Greece, our final few runs on the empty slopes. We were working up a good appetite for our final taste of the scrumptious Greek cuisine and one last evening out.
White wine.
Yeah, but you have Retsina wine? No Retsina?
I love Greek food. They have great meat and they have great fish. It melts in your mouth.
That was the best waitress I've ever had.
I couldn't help but wonder if it was fair and just that my little waitress and perhaps her children should suffer for years to come for the poor decisions of her parents' generation. Klaus and I left the small restaurant and went to a local taverna, where the bouzouki player and guitarist were in good form and the patrons were in full swing. Perhaps the Greek people intuitively take the lyrics of Elvis's song, "Kiss Me Quick," to heart. Tomorrows can be so uncertain. Love can fly and leave just hurtin'. For the Greek people, Zorba, my friend Klaus, and maybe even for this old ski bum, it's somehow ingrained in our DNA to live for today. Drink, dance, and love, for there may be no tomorrow. It's a philosophy where emotion is victorious over reason, and the Greek people seem to have that ability. Whether that's good or bad is hard to say. Perhaps good in the short term, but bad over the long haul. Good, bad, or indifferent, it was clear that we were all enjoying the moment. And I wondered what the German bankers were doing tonight.
Give me la dolce vita, hot music and senoritas. Don't give me convention and job security. Give me la dolce vita, good bourbon and margarita, good food, fine wine, fast women, and traveling free. I'm traveling free.